Darlings, I can absolutely confirm that when you are in your early 30s and living in Los Angeles, living a good single life, the best thing to do is not move to Dayton, Ohio. Welcome to another episode of New Job, Who Dis? That's right, it has been said, so welcome, lover cheeses and lover squeezes, to the 22nd episode of New Job Who Dis. I am your gorgeous, divine prism of excellence, Halston Body, serving up podcast after podcast, telling you my tales of chasing through jobs and careers and dreams and pipe dreams, failures, successes, what I went through mentally, what I went through physically. There's so many things that we have so much to cover. There's been a lot covered. If you are new to this podcast, if you have merged in on episode 22, I welcome you. If you are one of my gorgeous 10 listeners, and I know you're listening, thank you for coming back. I welcome you back. Thank you for listening. Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us, meaning the royal we, on the Podbean network. And of course, if you are watching my gorgeous face right here on YouTube, mwah, kisses to you, my darling. But we have a lot to cover in this episode because I decide, of all the things, I am living in Los Angeles currently. I am starting to bubble up in a stand-up comedy career alongside another train and another track, which is just a practical phone company job, working for SBC Pacific Bell. And I'm starting to like one of them and starting to really detest the other. Can anyone guess? Oh yeah, when you start tasting a little bit of the other side, when you start exploring that you can actually break free from this 9-to-5 monotony, not because it shouldn't exist, it doesn't mean there's problems with it, it's just not my bag, baby. It really isn't, because I start realizing it. I haven't fully formed on it yet. I still haven't fully committed, because I do a couple of really dumb moves to put a stick in my own wheel of progress as a stand-up comic. Where we left off, as I said, I'm working for the phone company, living in the Valley of Sherman Oaks in California, here in Los Angeles. I am 9-to-5ing it Monday through Friday. Got those weekends off. Hey, union benefits, union vacations, union protections. Working for a utility out here, that seems nice, and the money is sweet. Went through bankruptcy. We all know that, right? Because you've listened to the last 21 episodes. 10 listeners. The rest of you gotta catch up. But here's the key. I start getting gigs. I start getting bookings. I start making progress as a stand-up comic. Don't have an end game goal. Don't have a list yet. Don't have an achievement list yet. However, I do realize that there is very key elements in success levels as far as a resume is concerned, because I treated this as a job, by the way. This is why I put dedication into it. This is why I put passion into it, because whether or not I straight up treated this as a career yet, I still knew that I had to take this seriously for me to be taken seriously, right? I wasn't some, idiot who just stood up on stage and told dumb jokes. If I had to constantly look at my sets, look at my jokes, look at my lines, make sure I line up the stars correctly to make sure it worked. And then I had to commit to those jokes. I had to commit to what I had written down. And that was part of the process. And what was great is that, again, this passion that I started putting into it started to pay off. Started getting gigs at gay bear conventions around the country. And in the same vein of seeing it as a job and putting it on my resume and considering that there are certain levels that you have to reach to be looked at as a contender in some way, shape, or form, I had to look at it as, the same way that sports looked at things. I started doing comparison models for other things. I mean, you talk about the EGOTs, right? The Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and the Tony. You talk about sports where people want to, become an all-star, but they also want to win MVP, but they also want to win the all-star MVP, and then they also want to win the finals or the playoff MVP. I mean, there's people start putting checklists down of accomplishments. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it just caught on to me early on that I felt like I had to do some sort of figuring that out. Well, what are the majors in comedy? Well, I've been living in Los Angeles. The major clubs are the Comedy Store, the Improvs, and the Ice House. Those are three of the major ones that absolutely, if you played there, if you got gigs there, if you were a regular there, you were looked at as a serious comic. You were on the posters. You were getting admission charged for you. You weren't the one at the door taking the tickets. Wow, what a parallel to independent wrestling. This sounds familiar. Huh, interesting. So, yeah, up until this point, I was just the guy taking the tickets and running the own show and helping out run shows and trying to just get my face out there because I knew I was a rookie. I knew I was young at this game. I'm 2 to 3 years tops, but I had drive, and that's what the fuel was. I started getting bookings, as I said, with these gay bear events around the country. And the comparison model for me as far as, well, how do I be taken seriously as perhaps a gay comic at minimum, much less a gay bear comic? Well, how do we measure that? I mean, there really isn't a CEO of the gay bear community who is measuring my progress. I'm measuring it all on my own. So I had to come up with my own measuring stick. And my measuring stick was playing what I call the 4 majors, almost like in golf or tennis. There's majors. And I started noticing there were 4 major bear events around the country. There was San Francisco, which was International Bear Rendezvous. There was Chicago, which was Bear Pride. There was the Bear Bust in Orlando and TBRU in Dallas. You're asking yourself perhaps, hey, why isn't Los Angeles on that list? Oh, we had a bear event. A lot of problems I can go into about the bear landscape here in Southern California, but that's not why we're here. I did help and work for a couple of the Los Angeles gay bear events. In fact, one of them got a huge amount of notoriety because we imitated the Backstreet Boys at one point on stage, and we were the Backstreet Bears, and it became a thing without us. We were just having fun. We learned dance steps, a bunch of burly men just dressed up sort of not really like the Backstreet Boys, and we decided to do parody songs of all the boy bands in the early 2000s, and it worked. Caught on for years after. People were like, can you bring back the Backstreet Bears? We want the Backstreet Bears again. Bring back the... I was like, it was a one-time gig. It was just for a oh, man. We lit a fire. I don't know what it was. Chemistry, pure entertainment. I don't know. It was a hit. When I was performing with some fellow bears at the Bear Quake here in Los Angeles. So I started catching on. I started catching on as a bear comic. The problem I was having is that I was starting to not be sure I was a bear. Not because I didn't look like one. Not because I didn't hang out with a lot of them or all of them. Not because I was getting booked as a bear comic. It's because I wasn't a bear comic. Or at least I wasn't trying to be a bear comic. Yes, I knew how to pander to the bears. Yes, I knew how to book myself and talk to the right people within the community to connect and book myself for entertainment purposes. Yes, it started small at smaller places, smaller cities, Fresno's, the Tucson's, the indies before we hit the majors. But I caught wind early because I performed at this bear bust in Orlando, which is a huge bear event in the gay bear circuit. If you're still lost as to what a gay bear is, by all means, again, look it up. Look it up on the internet. It's all over the place. It wasn't as mainstream back then as it is now, but I was starting to book. I was starting to become known. Starting to become a thing. Wasn't a big thing. I was just a thing. Want to make sure my ego is in check. I wasn't a big thing. I was just a thing. And during that time, I booked my second major, TBRU. I attended it 1 year, met a cutie, and then got booked the next year, and that cutie was there again. So I started to canoodle and get close to a gentleman by the name of Paul. And that was, I guess, a fringe benefit of going to the bear events because I was single and ready to mingle. Oh yeah, let's get out there. But I also had this nurturing instinct. I mean, every boyfriend and or person I was with, I was up to that point, I was always just trying to care for them and be a caregiver in some way. And in some, without knowing it, I just kind of was always there for them. And I didn't know that. I just was give. Fine. That didn't mean I didn't take or other people didn't give. It wasn't a one-way street. I just definitely put myself in the pocket of being a giver and wanting to help and wanting to be a functioning and contributing member of a relationship. It's really what it came down to. Yes, you could probably point to motherly instincts where I wanted to cook and clean or provide. I'm sure that's folded somewhere in that batter. I guarantee it. But I was out there. I was trying to build this career, and then I started to fall in love. When I say I'm in love, that means I'm in love, LUV. So what's a boy to do? What's a boy to do? I'm living in Los Angeles, living with a roommate. Yeah, all right. Things seem to be going great. Comedy career is starting to pick up steam. Hey, we're falling in love. Well, good old Paul, unfortunately, personality type wise, and he has his own reasons. I can't speak for him, but he wasn't ready to just haul off and come move to LA and be with me. We both agreed, and I still agree to this day with anyone. I'm not a huge fan of long distance relationships. Friendships, absolutely. Because sometimes, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and it's great to see people if you haven't seen them for a long time. Magical when it comes to friendships, but trying to develop a relationship with somebody that you care about is challenging long distance. And this was this was 2,500 miles away. Dayton, Ohio is where he lived, and I lived in smack dab of middle of Los Angeles. Not an easy move. And, again, I understand the Midwestern mentality. It's a little scary out there. It's a little daunting. Big city life. Let's be honest. Dayton, not a huge city. I think it's the 6th largest city in Ohio. Right off the top of my head, Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, already for Akron. All right, I got 4 on the board. Let's play Family Feud. Dayton is 6th on that list, so not a huge, and it's an in-betweener city too. So what that means is that Columbus and Cincinnati are on the top and the bottom. Dayton's in the middle. So it's like 45 minutes at least either way to city life. Sure, Dayton has a city. Kinda. So we'll get to that. I decide, because I am now scot-free of debt, I am single, I am free to do whatever the hell I want to do with my life. I'm not tied down in any way. Yes, the money at the phone company is fantastic, but I wasn't looking at the phone company as my retirement career. P.S. By the way, I was watching people in my building who were 20 to 30 year lifers at Pacific Bell, SBC, and then it turned into AT&T. Whole long story there. But at the end of the day, I was watching these people. They were miserable. I didn't see anybody who was in year 27 like, oh God, I love this company. Mwah. No, they were just lifers who were just content to be left alone. They will come in faithfully. They have their life kind of, they have a little bit of a life at that job. Not me. Not me at all. I was there to hit it and quit it and make some hot cash. That's what I was doing. And it worked. The job itself was not fulfilling. The job itself was not something that I was like, I want to make a career out of taking angry calls from customers. Not it at all. So combining all these forces, I got cash in my pocket. I have a car. I have dreams. And I realistically thought, well, I have the internet. I can book comedy from anywhere. Yes, it is absolutely more glamorous to book out of Los Angeles. Yes, on paper, on a resume. Dayton, Ohio versus LA, Hollywood. But my heart took me to decide to move to Dayton, Ohio. To try and start a life. Start a decent relationship with somebody. And then maybe move back to LA. Hey, just a little break to, make family, make home, and then figure it out from there. And boy, did we ever. So, ooh, this is where it all starts to crumble. Oh no, I know, spoiler alert, but here, listen. Dumb move. No fault to Paul. I want to make sure this is absolutely clear. If Paul ever hears this or somebody who knows Paul goes, oh, well, your ex is talking about you all. No. Listen, no fault of Paul's. No, he did this to me. Me, 100,000% me. I chose to make these decisions. I was the one that said, you know what? I love Los Angeles and I have some great friends here and we're building this thing and it's great and I'm starting to get some momentum in stand-up comedy. Oh, maybe a little bit of acting too. Ooh, acting. What's that about? I'm here in Hollywood. Why not? You already got this. You're starting this momentum. Let's pop it by just moving to Ohio. What was I thinking? That's all I could do is just yell to the heavens. But again, my heart went over my head. It was great. It was I get riding a bike. That's what it is. Just riding a bike, going to the Midwest is not a painstaking ordeal for me. But it turned out that it became a painstaking ordeal for me. Here's how that happened in 40 minutes or less, because I want to try and keep these babies under an hour for your listening pleasure. I can't give it all away. Those hour and a half ones are a slog. I get it, people. I'm here to please my audience, and you are my audience. 10 listeners. They've been giving me the feedback. So here's how it failed, because I don't want to dwell on Dayton. Dayton wasn't an experience that it was like, wow, I could go on about how amazing this was. Oh, no. It was dumb. It was a dumb idea. It was great to be with Paul. That's the positive. It was great to be with Paul. It was great to grow with him and start to build this relationship with him. And it worked. Like, we didn't get on each other's nerves, as far as I could tell. We started a life together. Well, what am I going to do in Ohio? I quit the phone company, right? Big parade for me at the phone company. Oh, we're going to miss our B.O.B. We miss him. Oh, the cookies, the Christmas cookies. Oh, the amazing customer support this guy gave. Oh, the positivity. Oh, the relationships I've had over 4 years. We're breaking up. Oh, you're moving to Ohio. I'll never see you again. Kind of true. So I pack my bags, leave Los Angeles, move in Dayton, Ohio. They say it's great in Dayton. That's the phrase I was told early on. It's great in Dayton. Wah! It was not great in Dayton. Here's why. There's no one in Dayton. Okay, there are some people, but there's no one in Dayton. There's no city life. There's no Tuesday night movies. Let's go out with a whole lot of friends. Let's go to cool restaurants. Hey, there's this cool thing happening. There's this thing. There's a happening. Oh, hey, and there's also stand-up comedy. Hot and cold running stand-up comedy. It's happening every night of the week, all over the place. Hot. Not happening. It was Midwestern life. Paul was working his Monday through Friday 9 to 5 like I was. Benefits, 401k, pension, all those things, right? Hey, it's a living. I move in, and I had to figure it out quickly. Well, I went to the old well. What do I know? Because Dayton didn't have a lot to offer. It was a lot of industry. It was the place where the birthplace of aviation. Yes, we talk about Kitty Hawk and the Wright brothers taking off from there, but it all started in Dayton, Ohio. Look it up. Big aviation town, big Air Force town, Air Force base in town. Not a lot to do. Very local. And we weren't really out and local. We were just living together. TiVo. We were watching a lot of television and playing a lot of video games and just being together. Met some friends, made some friends, sure, but it was not I could immediately tell the minute I landed and planted my flag in Dayton, early on, I knew this was going to be problematic. I get a job because I'm obviously doing my old standby. Get online, start asking around. Oh, is that Craigslist? That's a thing now. Great. Oh, that's new to the internet. Craigslist. Yeah, this is where we are, people. This is 2004. We're in MySpace land. We're in LiveJournal land. By the way, yeah, we were totally together on LiveJournal, me and Paul. And, just the connections were limited. Email. And, of course, when you are becoming a stand-up comic and you have a MySpace, you also had to have your own website. That was the game back then. So I'm moving to Ohio with all this comedy experience that I was starting to get. Had to do a last show at the Out for Laughs show, which filled the house of every friend I could possibly muster to show up on a Thursday night. So I could tape it and, present it to others as, hey, this is what I've done. And I take all that to Ohio. Trying to find work immediately because I knew I couldn't just lay around the house and do nothing. I mean, I could. Paul already had the place to himself, and he had a day job, and he had everything covered. Just had to figure out what I had to do out there for the time being. So I went to the well, and I became a server at a brand new restaurant that was opening up not too far away called Longhorn Steakhouse. There's not a lot of details. There's only a couple scant memories of working for this place. The scant memories I have involve learning all about steak. That was amazing. Now I know a lot about steak. Ribeyes are my favorite. Prime rib all day, baby. Yes, give it to me. So I learned a lot about steak and preparation and all those things. Great. Then I learned about tequilas and margaritas and different drink menus and how the Longhorn Steakhouse makes, it was all, because it was a brand new location. So it was all orientations. It was all, everybody's new around here, a couple transfers from other stores and managers and blah, blah, blah. But here's how it went south really fast. And I mean really fast. Just to give you all a perspective, I only lived in Dayton, Ohio for a year and a half, 18 months. And I think I was at Longhorn for maybe, and I want to say maybe 4 to 6 months at the most. I want to say 4 safely. Because what I learned and I educated myself on, based on experience alone, was that A, I am not a great server. Oh, I am friendly. Oh, I will crack a smile and a joke and make sure we are all happy and sunshine and rainbows and lollipops at your table. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. Caretaker, nurse, all the things that you should expect to want to make sure that our tables are taken care of and our customers are happy and the food's amazing. However, the lack of control is what I could not handle. The lack of being able to make sure that happens on a consistent basis at a place like a Longhorn Steakhouse was not existent for me. May have been existent for others. Maybe some young girls are, collecting those tips because they're young girls. I don't know. But a 30-plus-year-old, chubby, beardy guy, yeah, stand-up comic, yeah, on-air personality, sure, LA actor, not the greatest server. And I hated it because half the time it wasn't my fault. Oh, sure, there are times I forgot drinks. Oh, sure, let me go back and get that Ramekin Ranch I forgot. Oh, I swear I put that on the order. Let me run you a... It wasn't that bad. But this is what I quickly started to get angry about. Tipping. Oh, I hate tipping. It's the worst. Hate it. I will do it. I absolutely am generous with my tips nowadays because I get it. But this is what I hated. The last straw for me was serving a gentleman. I think his bill was maybe $45. Had a wonderful time with him. Not a problem with the order. It was like a Wednesday, right? So nothing, no slamorama. I've got 5 tables. I'm in the weeds. Help me out. I need drinks ran for me. Nothing like that. Smooth, easy breezy Wednesday night. How was your meal? Fantastic. Whenever you're ready, I'll take care of that for you. Let me know if you need a refill. Sounds great. You're amazing. Mwah! Go in the back. Do whatever I have to do. I don't know, clean, train, whatever. Marry my ketchups. I don't know. And I come back out to the table after he left to grab my tip. That gentleman left me like 46 cents. How does anyone pay rent with this gamble you take being a server? Because there is no obligation to tip. 0. I can be a server. I can have 10 tables a night. I can have $100 worth of merchandise and or food and or whatever, beverages on every table. That is a 10 times 100. We're looking at $1,000. And if I tipped 20%, even 15% on all of those, that's $150 to $200 for 10 tables at $100 each. If that happened, but it never happens. And here's where the rub is. If the problem is not your fault, right? If I dropped a whole pile of drinks on your table and got rude with you and threw straws and was stupid about your order, forgot things, and it was my fault, oh, don't tip me a dime. But if I get the food out on time and I'm refilling your drinks and I'm checking in and things are great and you're giving me positive vibes, and the kitchen sends out a burger that was supposed to have no onion on it, and they serve it with onion. Customer is now upset. Oh no, hey, this burger had an onion on it. Bah! Bah! I want it remade. Harumph. That comes out of my tip, usually. Sometimes the manager will comp the burger because it was done wrong. But when they don't, or in general, that comes out of my tip. Does the kitchen person who messed it up get his pay docked by $1 an hour because he's an hourly employee and not a tipped employee? No. Does the manager who refuses to go talk to the table or just has it refired and can't really do much about it for you, does he lose any wage? Nope. Does the bartender who took too long to make those margaritas because they're slammed and they're hurrying up and they're giving you sass, and then you serve those drinks late because they're running behind. Does the bartender lose their wage? Nope. But the server sure does. And that's where I was like, we are done with serving tables. Oh, I can razzle dazzle you all day, juggle in front of your children, put on a whole clown face and be like, da 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 da, this is the best meal you all ever had. I'll come out with a lit birthday cake and clap all day long for your birthday. And you can still walk away and go, nope, no tip for you. I don't like those odds. So I quit that place and I hated it. I felt guilty about it. But at the end of the day, I was a business person. And I'm sure part of it was my mood. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be doing comedy. I wanted to be in LA doing stand-up comedy. Oh, I wanted that. One other thing I walked away from the Longhorn Steakhouse learning was this. Fried chicken country hog. It's your birthday hot dog. How about this one? Fried chicken black eyed pea. Happy anniversary. Oh, get out of my face. Oh, yeah, no, you know them. I had to learn them. Oh, God, it was so disgusting. But listen, no hate for the Longhorn Steakhouse and the quality of their food. In fact, their firecracker shrimp still to this day. Oh, what an appetizer. But, yeah, I just, so bad to work for that company, especially in the state I was in. I was already making a ton of money at the phone company, and all of a sudden it drops by like a quarter because I'm this, tip wage earner at a steakhouse, and it's not a cute setup, and it's not, the odds were not in my favor. So I decide to find another job. Well, hey, it's getting around holiday time. Hey, holidays. Temporary Christmas time at the mall and in retail. Who's got that in their bag of tricks? Well, that would be me. Oh, hey. Started sniffing around. Got to find some work. Yeah, I think I had a little break. I think I took some time off because I had a comedy gig. I started getting more gigs for the comedy in between, unbelievably, right? I mean, I was bored in Ohio, was not doing much other than just being with my then boyfriend. So I had time to build a website. I had time to start pushing myself from Dayton. Yeah, I was living in Los Angeles. I'm living with Dayton. Just trying to get my way through it. But I got gigs. I started getting gigs. I was booking in Nashville for this thing called Bearapalooza. Met a whole lot of different new bear performers there because it was more of a music thing than it was just bear events. It was, yes, there was a bear event, but they also booked this Bearapalooza thing, and it was just a whole lot of gay bear musicians. And I was the stand-up comedy S-Coast thing that they added on to that. Great. The more the merrier. The more the barrier. Ha ha ha. Zing. Oh, we will never do that again. Sorry about that, listeners. But yeah, so I start sniffing around because I got to find other work. This Longhorn Steakhouse gig ain't cutting it. And again, a chubby dude in a button-down shirt is not a fun thing for me. So I find retail holiday temp work at Best Buy. The great Best Buy of Dayton, Ohio, right across from the Air Force Base. And oh, hey, we're hiring. Well, I've worked music retail before, and I've worked retail before, and I've been a manager before. Trust me, Best Buy, I've got this. Here's where the problem was. Oh, no, listen, no knock on Best Buy. Best Buy was actually cooking with gas at the time. It was a big thing. It had, it had the goods, had the technology, had what people wanted. And I got bounced around a little bit. I believe I started there in the TV area. And I hated it. Not because I hated TVs. That wasn't my gig, baby. I wanted to get to the media department. Back then, media department was the CDs and the DVDs and the video games. Oh, yeah. That was the cool place to be. The PlayStation 1s and 2s and the 3. Oh, yeah. All of that. Oh, I wanted to work that section. I was a manager for a Musicland, Suncoast, and Sam Goody. Why would you not put me in that section? Well, I took whatever they gave me. So I ended up working in the TV section. Ugh. Then I ended up working at the front counter, which I kind of hated. I started to really resent working for Best Buy. And it wasn't because of what Best Buy was doing. I was falling into this corporate trapping again. It was like corporate rules and corporate things and banging our drum about numbers and how many things can you bamboozle, customers for selling. Pro tip, if you're ever out buying things at Best Buy or any sort of electronics store, Fry's Electronics, whatever, all the accessories are the highest markup, like 80% markup. Cords and cables and extra cables and HDMI cables, all of that. The base level cost of that stuff is like $2. And they literally charge like $30, $40, $50. At cost, it is so cheap. When we get discounted, when we were getting a Best Buy discount at Christmas for 40% off, that stuff was like pennies on the dollar. Like, oh, you get it 40% at cost. Oh, wow, I get all the HDMI cables I need for $2. Great. But I worked in the TV section at first, and that was fine. I mean, that was during a time when people were trying to push plasmas and then DLP TVs, which was that little chip that would reflect the reflect and go into, I mean, nothing like we have today. These were old wall-mounted TVs that were just clunky and heavy. And then when the new DLP technology was starting to show up, those TVs became like 4 ounces. We were trying to sell $10,000 plasmas. And what was funny to me is that I couldn't in my heart. I was one of the first products that I really started to go, I don't know if I can, other than the CDs at $17.49 and the new movies at $30 at Suncoast, I couldn't put my heart behind trying to sell somebody a $5,000 plasma screen when I had learned that basically it was impossible to fix. It was like you had to make sure that those plasma bubbles, otherwise they'd pop and then you could get little holes in the screen and I was like, who are we selling these to? This is Best Buy in Dayton, Ohio. What is that? I worked for Best Buy during a time where the Geek Squad became a thing. It wasn't a thing, but it became a thing. It was a new thing. Oh, we got the Geek Squad now. What? Has it become that bad? Oh, yeah. Listen, viruses and computers. People did not know. They did not know what they know today. They were not as disposable or as inexpensive as they are today. The Apple products were not anywhere near what they are today. So we had the Geek Squad. The Geek Squad was out there fixing everybody's virus-ridden LimeWire and Napster-ridden Windows 95. We can't figure out to save our lives. Geek Squad became a thing while I worked at Best Buy. It was a fine experience. It was cliquish. Again, it was culture of bored Dayton teenagers, and here's Hollywood Bob coming in from Los Angeles who has been doing all these cool things with chasing celebrities and being on stage and performing and ooh. But everybody around me was, sorry for lack of a better word, boring. Didn't want to hang out with a single one of them. Boring. What are you doing tonight? Nothing. Drinking. What are you doing tomorrow? Maybe going to the park. Drinking. I was like, this is not where I want to be. This is not what I want to do. But I worked there and it was fine. I mean, it was retail, slavery as usual, the same old angry customers, Karens, price matching, complaints. I remember one story where I got disciplined. I don't think it was a full write-up, but it was definitely a verbal warning. I was at the cashier and at the checkout stand and ringing somebody up. They brought up a Best of the Gin Blossoms CD. Now, fun fact, I actually do like the Gin Blossoms. They were a thing when I was at Musicland in the 90s, and I dig it. I get the Gin Blossoms. I understand it. And I do enjoy some of their hits. But I made a joke because I'm a stand-up comic, and I said, oh, Best of Gin Blossoms. Why does the CD just have one track on it? Oh, that young lady did not like my tone and my joke, and she literally narked me out. Went to the front counter. I need to speak to a manager. I mean, she was like my age. I was like, I'm joking. Oh, here we go again, right? Another Karen, another dollar, another day. Oh, it was the worst. Yeah, and I just had to take those write-ups or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I started to not want to work for Best Buy anymore because I started to pick up on their scam, and I wasn't really into it. The scam was those extended warranties for everything and anything electronic that they would sell to you at the register. I fell for it once. That's how I know it was a scam. And it wasn't a pure scam. It wasn't like, we're taking your money and we're not doing anything with it. We're just saying we're going to do something with it, but we're not going to do anything with it. We're not going to repair anything. We're not going to... No. There's a reason why there was like a 5-page booklet that you got with these warranties, on your headphones or your giant TVs. Now, yes, for a giant TV that costs you nearly $1,000 or $500 or $800 or whatever, sure, that would seem like a decent deal, right? You pay an extra $60 or whatever, and you get a extended 2-year warranty on it. If everything goes wrong, you just let us handle it at Best Buy. You don't have to go to the manufacturer, all that jazz. But the problem was, the scam is that it was great for TVs, sure, but everything else, I mean, they could weasel their way out so easily of just saying, this was human error and you broke this and we can't repair it. Or they would just, it was a big, just, they would run you around and make it a chase and make it this, you have to email this, you have to, send a triplicate receipt to this P.O. box and hopefully they'll respond. And then you have to take the product back in its original box and all these contingency moments to give you a warranty on a TV that they're just going to throw out and give you a new one anyway. But they made you jump through these hoops. And then, of course, they were betting on that you wouldn't jump through those hoops. You'd pay for this warranty and you'd be like, we'll just buy a new one. So they got you. I was not a fan of doing that. I didn't like selling those in good conscience to people who were buying less than $20 headphones or some product that personally I knew you were just going to throw away, like a Panasonic, some cheapo Walkman or CD Walkman. Just get a new one. Not everybody had that budget, so they thought that was the insurance policy. Little did they know, it was a pain in the butt. I'm not saying it didn't never not work. I'm not saying that nobody ever got a warranty, but I'm just saying it was such a scam. And then there was I didn't like working for the company. Again, the pricing and CDs were starting to fade out. You could tell they were not restocking them as plentiful. There was not a big rush on releases of CDs. It was starting to get weird. Napster was winning. And the music retail industry in 2005 was not looking cute. It was falling apart. So, yeah, I mean, sure, Dayton, Ohio was still like CDs, but it was not going the way it should be going. It wasn't completely collapsed yet, but it was not a cute place to be. Video games, popping off. Of course, everybody wants the new video games. DVDs, of course, the DVD box sets were new and exciting, and DVDs, awesome. Not CDs, not the music industry. Best Buy was fine. It was fine. I had a Best Buy gift card. I got the discounts. I was able to get, me and Paul and I got all sorts of, great things to improve our electronics life, TiVos and, better TV and all those things. But at the end of it all, working for Longhorn Steakhouse for the minimal amount of time I did, turning in my apron there, and then struggling to be at Best Buy, because it was, again, just another job, just another retail job that I didn't feel like I needed to be there or wanted to be there. I was just there. Got to pay the rent, got to pay the bills, got to do the things. I mean, I had some credit card money. Or not credit card money. I had money. I had some money from the phone company still coming in and, in the bank, and things were okay and stable for the most part. Paul was full-time employed and had a decent wage. So things were all right until Paul noticed I was miserable. Kudos to Paul. He was right. I was miserable. Wasn't miserable being with him. He wasn't the cause of my problems. Oh, no. No. He was definitely a light because I was, there with him. We were there together in cahoots in Dayton. But I was missing everything. The only comedy I did in Dayton was at some, funny bone, laugh, ha-ha club that was one of those 2-drink minimum places that was overpriced just to get you in the door and charge your friends for, $12 drinks while I choked on stage. And I did a comedy contest. It was Dayton's funniest comic. Well, I knew from Los Angeles the way to win a comedy contest is stack the audience. You could be the funniest, most clever comic in front of 10 people, but 10 people there have never seen you, and they are there to see their friend. Their friend's going to win because they're going to be loud as all get out for their friend. But if you've got 100 people and 90 of them are your friends and an audience of 100, none of those comics stand a chance. They could be the most funny, but when the audience is being told, hey, who's the funniest? That audience is going to be like, that guy we came for. So I did that. I went to Dayton. I was like, hey, everybody I could possibly muster. Paul, ask all your friends. Everybody, let's stack the audience. It wasn't 100 people, but it definitely was enough. I won Dayton's Funniest Comic Award in 2000. It was 2004? Yeah, it was 2004. Right when I got there, because I didn't want to lose momentum. It was the worst. It was terrible. But Paul said, yeah, he looked at me. He just knew my demeanor, what I was trying to accomplish. I mean, yeah, I was doing these bear gigs, and that kept me going. But it was in between. There was a lot in between. There wasn't regular comedy happening. I had plenty of time to write. I had plenty of things to talk about, but I had nowhere to really talk about them. And I wasn't driving up to to Cincinnati or Columbus to even keep doing that. I just was there in Dayton, living this life and working at Best Buy and hating it more and more each day. And Paul saw it. He said, as somebody who's here with you and we've been together, I can definitely tell you need to go back to LA. Was he going to come back with me? Was he going to come to LA with me? To be determined. You're going to have to tune in to episode 23 and maybe 24 and the rest. Let's just be honest, people. You need to stick around. Stop showing up for one of these and leaving the party. No. There's more to come. Tons more to come. In the wake of me breaking my momentum of Los Angeles comedy, stand-up comedy, to go seek love and be with somebody in Ohio, racking up 2 quick jobs that were not great for me. Sure, they were what they needed to be at the time. But that was rest in peace. Let's have a funeral right now. Da, 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 da. It is not, we are never going to wait tables again. All mad respect for servers, wait staff. I will tip you gloriously. We will be good friends. I understand your plight. I understand your pain. I understand you are the least in control, but the most scrutinized in a restaurant. And I will always applaud you. So fight the good fight, servers. Your boy Halston Body is never going to be part of that army again. Unless I'm forced to. I mean, I guess maybe when I'm, 65, I'll change my name to Cookie and become a good old Southern, some diner server. Just going to get you your bud and your coffee, sweet tea. I don't know. I don't know why I'm Southern. It's just, listen, the personality tapes just keep unveiling themselves. Thank you for listening. Oh, what was I doing in Ohio? That was the theme for today's episode. What was I doing in Dayton, Ohio? I decide I have to go back. My then boyfriend, Paul, decides I need to go back. Where am I going to go from here? What am I going to merge back into? Where am I even landing? Where do I begin? I'm not going to go back to the phone company. Or am I? Oh, tune in on Monday for another episode of New Job Who Dis. My 10 listeners, thank you again for coming back and being part of the New Job Who Dis Halston Body family. For those who are new, please come back. Please go back. Please listen to some of the past episodes. There's even a recap episode if your attention span is too short. But I thank you again for being part of this. Tune in, subscribe, comment, like, all the things you're supposed to do on YouTube, on Google, Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, everywhere you listen to it, on iTunes. Please share the love. I say this every episode, and I will say it again until we are done. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your sister, tell your brother, tell everyone. This has been New Job Who Dis?